All right, Wolfpack Nation, we are back for part 2, y'all, of our interview with the new associate head coach for NC State Wrestling, Coach Zach Esposito. So if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, make sure to go and do that first and foremost as we talk about his time at Oklahoma State, talk about his initial relationship with Coach Pop, and now we're really kind of diving into the nitty gritty of what all the NC State fans are really wanting to know more about. Is so first of all, Coach, I mean, like, talk a little bit about the decision to come to NC State. I mean, you spent 1 year as a part of the Team USA developmental program, and then decided to come back to college wrestling and be a part of NC State wrestling. Why?
Yeah. Relationships. That's why. Yeah. I think that's the first thing is my relationship with Coach Pop. Being an East Coast person, from New Jersey originally. My father actually lives in Raleigh. Oh, perfect. He retired there 15 years ago, I think. So it's actually kind of funny. He's retired and he like ushers for like his like for fun. So he's actually like all the NC State events.
Oh, okay. So he ushers like at the
PNC. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So he's actually at the game as usher. So it's actually he actually ushered at the wrestling events and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty funny. So if you see my dad, yeah, it's really funny. It's really cool. So it's actually really funny because even when I was at Oklahoma State, he would send me pictures. He's like, it's beautiful here. It's beautiful here.
See, Coach Pop, all Coach Pop had to do was just say, hey, give your son a call. Go give him a song. Tell him to come to Raleigh, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny because there was a couple times where, I even thought about it even from OSU. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really excited to, start back my relationship with my father, in that area, with him and him really be a part of, my career and my family. I've been away for a long time. I was at Oklahoma State for 20 years and away from the East Coast from my family for a long time. So to be able to get back to that is something that I'm really looking forward to. Having grandpa and grandma come around and grab the kids, and that kind of stuff. Or, there's a birthday party in New Jersey and I can't fly home because I'm in Oklahoma. I could drive there, in 7 hours and bring the kids to their cousins and everything. So, my mother lives in Orlando. So, being able to be that. So the location wise for me and my family is something that's really cool. But outside that, I mean, I want to say that I think that's a big reason why of NC State. I mean, the great thing is that it's just also a great program. And it's got, high potential. And I think that, Coach Pat has proven that with his consistency and his stability, that, we're a team now that is a consistent team that's going to be a top 10 team, and now we're trying to push over that edge to become, a consistent top 5 team. Now in today's landscape of NCAA, sports, it's a little tougher to do, in the sense of, you got to have resources to be able to do this now. You have, your RTC programs, you have NIL, you have a lot of things like that go into it. That's important to keep a program rolling and keep a program consistent. So, what I think that Pat does the best of is the culture. Some of the guys that are known, that are all Americans, that are, guys that are contending for a national title, weren't always a top recruit coming out of high school. They were tough. They had capabilities. They had high ceilings, but because they were in the right environment, around the right coaches and the right people that were motivated to do it, they were able to always overachieve. So, I mean, when I was at Oklahoma State, it's like, I couldn't tell you who Isaac Trumbull was, and he was in Nebraska, like literally 6 hours away from us, 6-7 hours away from us. So, I think it's just incredible. Now, honestly, being around Isaac, I got to be around him a little bit this year. He's come out to the Olympic Training Center to train and got to be around him in Raleigh for a couple weeks. It's like, these are the type of guys that we want. These are the type of guys that you recruit and guys that are hungry, guys that are motivated, guys that aren't burnt out coming out of high school and still have a lot left in the tank. kind of just where I'm going with that is that it's relationships, the culture, the people there. I always joke around and I say, people are like, what's it like in Raleigh? Since I've been there, I said, if you took the best people from New Jersey, New York, and PA and transplanted them down south, that's what it's like.
Nice. I love that. That's a great metaphor, Coach. One, I mean, because I don't know if you know, but there's a joke about Cary, that the city of Cary, that it is basically just the movement of New Yorkers from north to North Carolina, that they just go to Cary. So and you may feel that already if you haven't been there, or if you have been there before. But I mean, I remember a couple years ago, when Gwiz and NC State Wrestling really started to take off, that Coach Pop was in the rumors of getting, like, is he going to go to Oklahoma State, be a part of the coaching staff, to be there, things like that. And there was a NC State fan that commented on one of his tweets and was like, "Hey, Coach, would love to have you stay and not leave us one of the blue bloods in college wrestling." And Coach Pop actually responded and was like, "We are a blue blood." And I just love that, being like, yeah, that's right. Like, like we're there now. What you talking about? But
Well, I'll tell you that. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but that is important. I mean, a lot of reason why we did well at Oklahoma State is because there was that standard already. There was that expectation, and that was that belief too, and I think that's, things now that when you put on, an NC State singlet, people respect it. And when you put that singlet on too, it's like you have more power than what you potentially had. I mean, yeah, he's absolutely right. It's like, you are a blue blood, and we can't forget about that, and that's one thing that, like, at Oklahoma State, that, you were able to overachieve because you had that. Programs like Iowa have that, and programs like, Penn State and others, is that, that singlet is powerful. And that program is powerful. So, he's right. He's like, yeah, you do believe that we are that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I mean, I think the testament too, really, in my opinion, as of recently, has been Trent Hidley. I mean, that's a guy that I at the fundraiser, Coach, I know I showed you the list which I put up of my top 5 NC State wrestlers in history, and had Trent Hidley there sitting at number 5. And I'm telling you, Coach, I know you weren't there for it, but I literally, I got Trent at the fundraiser, and I was like, "Hey, yo, Trent, what do you think of my list, man?" And he looked at it from, I kid you not, a half a second. He said, I'm not on that list," and literally just walked away. And like he didn't do that out of disrespecting me. Like it was like, no, like, are you kidding me? I don't deserve to be on that list. And the humbleness, being a guy that's been a 2-time NCAA finalist, one of the winningest, if not the winningest coach, the winningest wrestler in NC State history, and one of the most dominant wrestlers in state history. And this guy, without even hesitating, says, "No, I'm not on that list." Like, there's no doubt about it. Like that's the guy, in my opinion, that I'll speak for you, Coach, to say, if I can have 10 Trent Hidleys compete for me every single year on a roster, I mean, that's going to be a pretty competitive and great lock to be in.
If we had 10 Trent Hidleys, we win a national title. Absolutely. Yeah. But I think, when I look at people that are impacted, like when I saw that list, and you think about it, you think just the results sometimes, but you really, you look at the impact that they had on the program. I really feel like, just being down there and seeing him train. I mean, he motivated me as a coach when I was in the room. I mean, forget what the other guys are feeling. I mean, when I came in the room, and this guy he's narrowed in. I mean, he knows what he wants to do in his warm up. He knows what he wants to do here. And I mean, he's a guy that when you walk in the room, he's ready to work. And I mean, that's the things that you look for as a coach. And, some guys could be like, "Man, he's like a favorite to you guys." And I'm like, well, yeah, sure. Yeah, he's like a favorite to it. And it's not even because of results, but it's like, look at the attitude the guy brings. I mean, if you're bringing that attitude into the room every day, it's like, yeah, you'd say he's your favorite, one of your favorites too. But like the person that makes an impact, I mean, he could be up higher on that list, honestly, to tell you the truth, because, the impact that he's made with the team, if you look at some of the best programs throughout the country, there's certain athletes on those teams that make that program known. And he was one of those guys for NC State wrestling. And for him to have that humbleness to him is what makes him even more special, because he knows that he was a face, of the program this year, but at the same time, he shared credit. And that's something that you're looking for a leader on the team is that humbleness. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I mean, he wants the team to do as well as him individually doing well. And those are things that you look for leaders on the team, that makes your life easier as a coach.
100%, no doubt about it. And so I want to kind of now, speaking of, kind of dive into a little bit in terms of what are your goals here at NC State? Starting with next year, starting during your tenure at NC State, what's your goals that you have?
Maximize their potential. That's my goals. I mean, listen, let's not forget also we're going to college for an education. We talk about wrestling a lot too. And there's 40 people on that roster. We're close to 40 people on that roster, in a 2-mat room. So we got to get Wolfpack Nation. We need to get together on this a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, there's a monster, there's a big roster, and everyone's on that team may not see the light of day on the mat, and, our education is something that's extremely important. We have guys on the team that, since being there, I mean, I was just in Las Vegas with Coy and Jacob Cox, and Jacob Cox is a local, is an engineering degree, which he started telling me about his classes, and my eyes started to cross because, I wasn't that type of student in Oklahoma State. So my goal is maximize potential. I mean, as a student athlete, guys graduating with the degree that they wanted to graduate with and go on to have a career, that's able to support a family and, maybe one day be able to get back to the Wolfpack Nation. And obviously, you have your wrestling goals. I mean, of course we want to be going for, guys that are gunning for national championships, and I think that next year, even without Trent, we have guys on a team that are capable of doing this, that have proven it. Jackson Arrington is a tough kid. He's an extremely tough kid and has proven it this year. And I see no doubt why he couldn't be a national champ. Kevin Jack, Isaac Trumbull. I mean, we have guys, Natty, who redshirted this year. I mean, we have a lot of guys, Camacho breaking through. It's like, he's got that potential. We have other guys just on the wings, that, Ed Scott and just, all these guys that I think that we just have to have breakthroughs, and we have to have the confidence and the work ethic, behind it. The work ethic is there, just you got to have maybe a little bit of that belief in us and maybe, what can we do more to punch through it? And, that was the thing, with Adam leaving, that was the main concern on Pat's mind was like, what do we need? What do we need to do to get through this, hump? I mean, he wasn't a coach that sat back after the national championships and was worried and down on himself and felt sorry for himself. He was a guy that got after it right after it. And he drugged me. He got me. He was not letting me say no. And now we've added Jamil Kelly as an RTC coach. And there's more things that will happen, keeping Trent at NC State, to train for the Olympics. Those guys bring value, to the room. They bring value to the room. That's my goal is to maximize our potential, as a student athlete and as wrestlers. And we do that. We're going to gain those team trophies.
And so kind of talk to me too. I know one of the most recent changes in college sports as of the last few years is the changes in the transfer portal, which at least in my opinion, doesn't seem to be used a whole lot in the college wrestling world. Would you agree with that? And if so, why would you say that is that transfer?
The transfer portal? Oh no, it's used.
Well, I mean,
it's used. I mean, Oklahoma State had Yeah, Oklahoma State had 3 transfers last year.
Okay.
Three guys in the lineup of transfers. I mean, Michigan had 5 transfers. Half their team was transfers last year. So, Penn State had 2 transfers on their starting lineup. So, transfers are. It just depends on it. They have to be the right transfers and they have to fit for the right reasons. I'm still a believer in development, especially from a younger age. So getting guys out of high school and develop them into something is something I feel is going to be our success at NC State. Now, if a transfer pops out and it fits right with the culture and it fits right with the team, those are definitely things that, you look into that can make a difference, for your team, not just point wise, but value wise in the wrestling room, or to, to your roster. But yeah, it's a big thing. It's an impact. Iowa had 3 in their starting lineup this year. So no, it's a big impact for especially those bigger programs too, or say those programs with some big NIL money.
Well, and you kind of mentioned it for sure, but I mean, the growing landscape in terms of with NIL, things like that within college wrestling, but also too, because one of the other things that's a big part of wrestling recruiting as well is the RTC program. As well. So, I mean, like if I don't know if NC State fan came up to you during the fundraiser, but if NC State fan did come up to you and say, hey, listen, I have the Wolfpack Club reaching out to me. I have the One Pack NIL reaching out to me. The Wolfpack RTC asking like why do I need to get involved and how should I get involved? What would your typical answer be? Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's look at it as a part of I don't want to say building a company, but you're building your environment. We're giving the opportunity to guys like Trent, and before it was Gwiz, guys that are able to stay around and train to make the world an Olympic team. And you're saying, well, why do that? Well, one, it's an alumni from us that had this goal coming out of high school, and it's something that we said we would support. That's one thing. And then the other thing that goes with it is that it's market value also. As much as we're trying to help Trent make the world an Olympic team, the value he brings to incoming recruits, knowing that a person like him is still at NC State training, shows that one, he loves the area, he loves the community, he loves the team, he loves the coaches. But also you get to train with this guy too, so it's like having that person in the room to look up to. When I was at Oklahoma State, we won 4 national titles. We had 3 guys on the Olympic team and 2 others that were training. We had Eric Guerrero, Jamil Kelly, and Daniel Cormier made the Olympic team in 2004. And it just so happened in 2005, we had 5 guys out of 10 weight classes win a national title. Very good. I mean, there's a correlation there. I mean, I worked out with Jamil Kelly, every day. I went to the Olympics with him as his training partner. That stuff, all of a sudden I wasn't thinking about, the Greensboro Open. I was thinking about the Olympics. My standard of thinking was a lot higher. So to be able to have these guys in the room train, is what adds to the environment. And as a coach, that's what you're trying to do is create the right environment, create the winning environment, the same way you would with a company, who you have there working and doing that. So, the Wolfpack RTC is something that is extremely valuable. And, it's a passion of mine too. It's why we're able to bring in a guy like Jamil Kelly, to be the RTC coach, so that it doesn't take away the coaching from the college guys. It gives us as coaches more freedom to work with not just Trent and all that, but with the rest of the team. So, that's a part of building it. Now, the NIL collective, the NIL, I mean, that's a new thing in college athletics that is a part of it now too. I think that it can bring value. It doesn't matter what you think or not think of NIL. It's here and it's not going away. And the way transfer portal is too, makes things a lot harder in a sense of, I was talking to a coach over the weekend and from a big school, and he's like, yeah, we're recruiting our athletes to stay.
Right.
I mean, after every year, there's those things. So you're not trying to, you're trying to maintain this environment, but at the same time, NIL can be something that is also, valued, for kids so that when they come out of college, they're not, boggled down with so much debt from college too. You're a kid and you've shown that you're a capable wrestler and are an All-American. I mean, that stuff's valuable and that stuff's marketable. And now you're in a spot now with NIL that can be, I don't want to say compensated for, but now you're in a position that, people can market you in a way that can give you NIL money, and that could go towards a lot of things like their bills and everything. Yep.
So, and one of the other things I think, in my opinion, that could really be a great recruiting battle, as well as I think the growing competition just here within the ACC. You see guys like a Pitt that had a national champion, Bonacorsi, Caleb Henson from Virginia Tech just won a national championship. It's growing, but specifically for NC State fans, the growing rivalry between NC State and Virginia Tech is a real thing, Coach. I don't know if you saw those videos.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they hate each other. They hate each other. They hate each other. I mean, listen, when I was at Oklahoma State and, we had OU, the in-state rivalry, and we hated each other too. But we were always beating them. So it never felt like a rivalry to us. This is a real rivalry. I know the Virginia Tech coaches, since, from before, and now I see them and it's like, they might look at me a little bit more 100%. Sideways now. I'm like, hey, but it's because of that rivalry is also why the ACC has been booming. I mean, as much as there is, hatred towards each other, I think there's a respect that goes towards each other, that, hey, look at what these two programs have done for this conference. You made this conference, well known, with the addition of Stanford, it's going to get even better too. Coach Ayers from Princeton, created that program and had a national champ and a team that, outside of COVID, they would have finished in the top 10, for the first time ever in program history so yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely something awesome. And actually, when I came down on a visit with my wife, we were at the NC State Virginia Tech duel, and I was just like, this is insane. This is different than an OSU match. Like this was it felt like a basketball game. I mean, there was cheering when there was no action. Sometimes when you're at Oklahoma State and there's no action, the place is quiet, because people are just watching the wrestling. This one, I mean, they're just picking fights with each other. Yeah. It was awesome. It was so cool to see. And then, the antics from both athletes and Kai winning and sticking his tongue out at the crowd. I mean, I can't wait for that next year. That's going to be awesome.
And that kind of leads me to my next question, Coach, which is what are you looking forward to most at NC State? And this could be, even to maybe, going to the first football game next year, which I'm telling you is going to be legit for sure. Yeah. But what are you looking forward to most at NC State?
Oh, the community. And I think that's one thing I missed this year in Colorado Springs is that, that college community, you have other friends that are coaches, in all the different sports and, going to a football game, going to a baseball game, gymnastics. I never been to gymnastics before. We didn't have gymnastics at OSU. So be able to do that, go to tennis matches, go to all those kind of things. I mean, that's what I always said. I was like, when I retire, I'm going to retire in a college town because there's so much stuff, to go and do and see. The PNC, being able to go to hockey games. I haven't been to a hockey game since I was maybe 15 years old, in Jersey going to Devils games. So be able to go to those kind of things. So that's what I think is the most that I'm really looking forward to is the community. I mean, outside my job and the kids and the coaching staff and those kind of things, the community is the one thing that I'm really excited about to get around.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Yeah, Coach. I mean, definitely there's one thing about NC State fans for sure is that we definitely pride ourselves in having one of the best all around athletic programs for sure in the country. I mean, and even beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they right now? 15 in the Ryder Cup or so, or the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, but I don't even know if that even included when that ranking came out. I don't know if that included basketball yet, but I mean, it definitely hasn't included tennis yet. Which I mean, both men's and women's are ranked towards top 10 right now. So yeah, we're definitely well on our way to our highest Capital One kind of finish in NC State history, which is phenomenal. So
that's awesome.
No, and so kind of talk to me too about the differences. If Ben Broussard with the Wolfpack Club right now came to you and said, Coach, I'm giving you a wish list right now. Like, you kind of mentioned earlier about the practice facilities, but like, what is the one upgrade that if you had the option that you would make next within NC State wrestling facilities?
Oh, space. Space, that's a big thing. That's one thing that we always fought at OSU too, was with the facilities was space. To be able to house, the roster size, that's always a thing. And it's eye candy, for your recruits also. But I was impressed a lot, like what fans don't see is the academic side. And going to the academic center for the student athletes, that was very impressive. Like when I came and on the visit, you're always looking for that. Your support staff, being able to have the finances for your support staff. I mean, there's a lot of things you get into, of things that you want to see improved or want improved. I mean, that's definitely more of a Pat question because he's been there a lot longer, for me, obviously. But for me, when I walk in of going like, what's some things that automatically is going to get us, jumping is the ability to have the finances to create the environment, which is, obviously your coaching salaries, your RTC, having the money for NIL, those things, if those things are right now more important than probably a facility, because that's actually, things that you look at that are doable right away. And then obviously having that plan to go forward sooner or later, that facilities, that thing that goes deeper than just your common alumni and money that goes to border regions, that goes to, presidents of the school, that goes towards departments. I mean, that goes towards, that's a lot of things that lead into that, so, but for the most part that, the ability to have the finances to create the environment, or not create it, to maintain the environment, I should say. And that's obviously, your coaching salaries, your RTC salaries, your NIL, bank, to be able to do that.
So Coach, for these last couple minutes here, I wanted to ask some kind of rapid fire trivia questions here to kind of wrap this up here. We'll start with the NC State wrestling side, and then we'll move into maybe more general NC State. But how many NC State wrestling national champions can you name? And yep,
how many NC
we have
State?
8 different national champions in our tenure.
Oh man, you really did put me on the spot. Well, Sylvester, and then obviously Gwiz. So that's 3. Oh man, I can name the recent All-Americans too. From back then.
There's one more recent, but that won the national championship since Gwiz won the national championship. There's one more recent one. Mock. Yep.
Yeah, Mock.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. I was just with him over the weekend in Vegas. So Mock's got an awesome story. One-time state champ out of North Carolina. Yep. It's like, what? Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, no,
that's great.
Okay, Quiz. Yeah.
Okay, Quiz.
And then Darian Caldwell,
Darian, yeah. Geez. I mean, how did I forget him? He's a Jersey guy. He's from Rahway, New Jersey. He beat Metcalf. How the heck did I forget him? Yeah. Threw me on the spot. I got it late last night.
No worries.
Forgive me.
And then how many times in a row has NC State beat UNC in duels? How many years in a row? Do you know? Have any idea?
Enough to forget how many times.
You don't even have enough fingers for how many times in a row we've beaten them, Coach. 11 times in a row we've beaten them. So, yeah. No, so we have their number for them. And we pride ourselves on that too, Coach, especially since they're coming. We're going to their house next year for sure. Got to keep that going, make it 12.
Yeah, and they got a new staff. Yeah, and they got a new staff too. They got a new head coach that, he's accustomed to winning. So I think that's we do need to step it up as a
Coach,
community.
I won't look for your comments on it, but just keep in mind that their coach thinks that NC State wrestling fans just are wrestling fans that just cheered for NC State. So, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, and then in terms of with NC State, so at NC State, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look around NC State's campus much at all, but there's one spot in particular where students are able to spray paint an area. So do you know what the name of that is?
Yeah, the tunnel. I don't know the name of it, but the tunnel, because they were telling me Kai did an awesome picture down there and then someone spray painted over it, but he was Kai's unbelievable. Have you seen, his artwork is incredible.
No, the Free Expression Tunnel. But yeah, no, Kai, I told Kai, I said, Kai, I'm saying this out of respect, man, but I'm not sure you're a better wrestler than you are a painter. And he was like, hey, I get it. So because he's a phenomenal wrestler, but man, he is a next level painter, no doubt about it. And
oh yeah,
and then do you happen to know the name, and have you tried the NC State ice cream? Do you know the name of the ice cream? So you haven't tried it yet. So Howling Cow ice cream. Howling Cow.
All right. Well, I have a sweet tooth, so I'm there.
Well, and you got to take them directly to the dispensary where we actually make the ice cream. It's right there on the farm, so it is fresh, no preservatives. It is just. Oh, it is the best ice cream you'll ever have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so get out there. Let's go.
I'm in.
All right, Coach. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I think I can speak for all NC State wrestling fans who are watching or listening to this and say, there's no doubt that we're super, super excited about the potential of this program and to see where it's going to go with you and Coach Pop, leading the way. It is super, super exciting to say the least. So thank you for your time.
Well, I'm excited about it, and thank you for taking the time too.
And so go Pack. See, Coach Guy down. Let's go. I love it, y'all. Well, again, Wolfpack Nation, we said in the first part, make sure, again, if you haven't already, go get your season tickets for next year. Super, super price efficient for sure. So make sure to go and take advantage of that. And then for us, Wolfpack Nation, if you haven't already, make sure you can hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you haven't already, hit that like button as well. If you love NC State wrestling, and give us a follow, Tuffy Talk now on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, y'all. We'll see y'all soon, and go Pack, baby.